So, all right, everyone, we're back to Srimad Bhagavatam study. Some semblance of regularity has re-entered the ashram, which is very nice. These are all the festivals the past few weeks. We like festivals here, don't get me wrong, but it definitely takes a toll, organizing and preparing, and then also enhancing one's sadhana and devotional activities during this time. It's I know for me, it's very intense. But the material world never quite ends. I have my in-laws visiting the ashram in 2 days, so Sita's parents will be here. So that will be interesting, good fun. So there's always something new. But we will continue with Bhagavatam. We have been being enlightened by Narada Muni. Actually, look at this. We have this beautiful book here, and that's a picture of Narada Muni. The caption is "The Transcendental Spaceman." I don't know if you can see the description, but yes, this is very nice. And that same Narada Muni is coming to instruct the author of the Srimad Bhagavatam on why he is dissatisfied with what's been done up until this point in his spiritual welfare offerings in compiling the Vedas. So Narada Muni said that ultimately you never gave anything which was purely and wholly and solely devoted to loving service unto the Supreme Lord, or the art of bhakti yoga. This was talked about by Vyasadeva, but it was never the whole and sole conclusion of any work of Vyasadeva. So now the Bhagavatam will do just that. It'll give wholly and solely the endeavor of bhakti yoga, and he's explaining a little bit about what type of literatures the crow-like people of the world like to hear and like to see, and that's like mundane literature, things about most of what you see, the Harry Potter, the 50 Shades of Grey, sports magazines, politic forums, animes and manga and comics and all these, any type of television entertainment, which are now replacing, people used to read for entertainment. Now we just watch things on, the television screens or computer screens or phone screens. So, these are the type of things that the Bhagavatam explains. And Narada, actually, this is Narada speaking. He's a little bit more direct than, say, you or I can be with the public. But he says he considers the analogies. These people reading these things are like crows, but saintly persons are compared to swans, and they like to read literatures that which are full of descriptions of the glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, about the Supreme Lord, about the absolute truth, and ultimately the Lord, or God, being the conclusion of that truth. This is what the swan-like people, or the transcendentalists, like to hear. Why? Because it's directed about bringing a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. These literatures are actually going to help people and revolutionize their life and redirect them from their misdirected ways of living pretty much a very sinful and dissatisfying life. Everyone is so. The word sin has kind of gotten a bad rap due to a lot of the way that the modern religions have weaponized the word sin. But actually, if other people sin, yes, sometimes it may directly affect us, but it doesn't so much directly affect us, It's not like we need to judge people and be like, oh, they're sinners. But what's wrong with sin is that it actually makes their life just suck. Like essentially, like living a sinful life actually leads one to hellish situations in life. It doesn't hurt anyone else other than the sinner primarily. That's the main person it's hurting. So, the saintly people, they're always looking for the welfare of the more sinful or more hedonistic people who, they don't have the higher vision or the higher intelligence to know how the orders of God, how the laws of God work, and what's ultimately going to make them more satisfied. So lo and behold, they live more sinful lives. But Narada Muni is explaining how the ultimate welfare of the people can come, and he's going to give Vyasadeva this inspiration to compose the Bhagavatam, which is going to be ultimately for the welfare of everyone. And like I said, we're not in the business of judging, you're a sinner, you're not a sinner, and things like that. That's actually between everyone and God. I'm totally a sinner. I've been practicing for many years. I still have things that are getting in the way, and while they're far less than they once were, there's still many things. So, who are we to judge? At least who am I to judge? But on the same token, to the degree that I sin in my life, or to the degree that I don't, sin actually is an archery term. It means to miss the mark. To the degree that I miss the mark, and what's the mark? The actual point of life, which is one's relationship with God. To the degree that we miss the point of life, your eternal relationship with God and how to act therein, then life is not pleasing. It's meant not to be pleasing. It's meant to be very disturbing, actually, instead, which is why all the disturbances you feel in this world are actually due to it has nothing to do with the situation. The situations aren't disturbing. It's just your lack of connection to the Lord and seeing His hand in all the situations. A transcendentalist can literally get his arm chopped off, and he can see this in a transcendental light. There's actually instances in the Bhagavatam where the King Chitraketu, after his son died, he was lamenting, and then actually Narada Muni came and with Angira Rishi and actually enlightened him. And then after that, he became like a great ruler of the Vidyadharas, like a very a kingly sage. And then somehow or other he offended Parvati. That's a whole other pastime in the Bhagavatam. It wasn't a great offense by him, but Parvati got offended. It was all for Leela, because then he took birth in a very lowly position as a great asura named Vritrasura. But Vritrasura, it was Indra versus Vritrasura, and Indra is the good guy, and then Vritrasura is the bad guy, except the so-called bad guy, yes, he was born in this body and he was terrorizing the world with it. But this, the amount of supreme transcendental knowledge that he knew, it looked like when the conversations are happening, it looks like he's the good guy and Indra's the, and Indra even felt that. He was dejected. He didn't even want to kill him because of how, enlightened he was. And even so much so, where he eventually gave Indra permission to kill him. And you see how, really how transcendental he is. And it doesn't matter what situation is there. He's about to get his head chopped off. And he was inviting it. Indra missed with his weapon, and he gave his weapon back with him. He said, here, try again. It's my destiny, So anyway, a transcendentalist is on a completely different platform, where they're not disturbed. Nothing can touch them. Nothing can touch a transcendentalist. So we strive to be like this. I mean, this is a very mundane example, but it's true, actually. There's a movie called Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's stuck in my consciousness. But there was a main character played by Johnny Depp, and one of the quotes in the movie, Jack Sparrow, whatever nonsense name they've given. But whatever it is fine. But they said, one of the quotes in the movie is like in his British pirate voice. He's like, it's not the problem that's the problem, mate. It's the attitude about the problem. And it's actually true. It's not, the problems aren't the problems. It's actually our attitudes about the problem that's the problem. And the transcendentalists, they have the right attitude. So we're trying to also shift the attitude. You're going to see Vyasadeva, nothing really changed other than Narada Muni changed his attitude. And all of a sudden, he's sitting there in the same exact place with the same amount of achievements, but now the inspiration is different, the attitude is different. So Bhagavatam is going to be a huge attitude adjustment for anyone who goes through it. But before we actually get into it, well, I'll read the final, the previous verse that we did, and then we'll do Om Jnana. Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. What then is the use of fruitive activities, which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature, if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord? So he's explaining why Vyasadeva should make a work solely and wholly dedicated towards the Supreme Lord, because anything, any knowledge, any type of, and he said even knowledge of self-realization, if it's devoid of the conception of the infallible, if it's devoid of a conception of the Supreme Personality or God, then it's useless. And then he's saying then especially so of all of your activities that you're doing. If it's not in relation to God, it's useless activity. It's a complete waste of time. So this has to always be, everything should be utilized for the devotional service of the Lord. So this is what this work is going to be about. So we'll continue after we chant some prayers to the Gurus. And so I will share the screen. And
Om Namo reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of the Godhead, Narayana unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supremost being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vedyasa, the author.
Jai.
Shravana Kirtana Vidyantasto hi Bhadrani Vedunoti Siruchatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Jai. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati ruttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki.
By regular attendance on classes on the Bhagavatam, by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
All right, let's cleanse our hearts and remove all of our troubles. And the main thing also is we establish love for God, which is the point. This is the point of all this. This is the great gem, the great jewel. We're trying to develop prem, but it's not easy, everyone. It's not such an easy thing to. There's a system of how to actually achieve prem or love for God. And it's actually measured by the great devotees and acharyas. We sing Samsara Davana Lila Loka. This composer, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is a great, you could say, devotional scientist about how to actually achieve the devotional fruit of prem. And it's actually explained. He has a work called the Madhurya Kadambini on how to do it. But it has to. There's a process, and Prabhupada is also giving the process. But it starts with Shraddha, having some faith, and then being nourished through Sadhu Sangha. With enough faith, you'll want to gather with Sadhu Sangha. And then in Sadhu Sangha, you learn Bhajana Kriya, actually different types of devotional activities like chanting and worshipping and singing and hearing Bhagavatam and so on. And by regularly doing this, you become fixed, called Nishtha, to the spiritual master. And after being fixed for something, most people don't even get to this stage. There's no chance of praying without first becoming very fixed. So then once you become very fixed to the spiritual master, and then we, in our tradition, we have Swami Srila Prabhupada, and many of his disciples are fixed, and then we should find somebody who's exemplifying that and become fixed onto that person. And and that's our goal. And then from there, from practicing Bhajana Kriya in a fixed way, Nishtha, under the guidance of sadhus superior to us, we can actually develop ruchi or taste. And then with taste over time, you actually develop a shakti or attachment. And then from attachment, then bhav starts to come, which is like natural spiritual emotions. And then from that, prem can blossom. But there's many things that can get in the way, anartha, nivritti, and so on. So actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti goes through all of this process. It's very complex. It's very, it's not as complex as you think, but it's a system. It's a science. It's not a sentimental thing. So anyway, the Bhagavatam is the main evidence that he gives that inspires much of his work of Madhurya Kadambini. So this whole system will be learned in Bhagavatam. So as we systematically work through Bhagavatam, we can systematically work our way up to prem. But it's not easy. It's not so easy. It's not you just flip the lights on and boom, you've got prem. Very, very high thing. Very high thing. So first we should try and get some shraddha or faith, and then do some bhajana kriya. This is part of our bhajana kriya. And then hopefully we can feel the next step is to get fixed. Get fixed up in this. Don't get fixed on following me. Get fixed on following the people I'm following, which is our acharyas and Srila Prabhupada and some of the exalted disciples in our lineage who are exemplifying that. And then hopefully you find one that's really deeply inspiring and really deeply on that level that you want to follow, and yeah, they'll take you up to the next few levels. So anyway, up until this point, we are reading Bhagavatam. So the Transcendental Spaceman, Narada Muni, is going to take us to the next level and take Vyasadeva to the next level. Atho Mahabhaga Bhavan Namo Kadrik, text 13. Shuchi Shrava Satya Rato Drita Vrataha Arukramasya Kila Bandha Muktaye Samadhinanu Smaratad Vicheshtitam Atho. Therefore, Mahabhaga, highly fortunate, Bhavan, yourself, Amoghadrik, the perfect seer, Shuchi, spotless, Shravaha, famous, Satyarataha, having taken the vow of truthfulness, Dritavrataha, fixed in spiritual qualities, Urukramasya, of the one who performs supernatural activities, which is God in parentheses, Akila, universal, Bandha, bondage, Muktaye, for liberation from, Samadhina, by trance, Anusmara, think repeatedly and then describe them, Tat Visheshtitam, various pastimes of the Lord. Translation. O Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness, and thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage. So he's talking about Vyasadeva's great qualification. Purport. People in general have a taste for literatures by instinct. They want to hear and read from the authorities something about the unknown. But their taste is exploited by unfortunate literatures which are full of subject matter for satisfaction of the material senses. Such literatures contain different kinds of mundane poems and philosophical speculations, more or less under the influence of Maya, ending in sense gratification. These literatures, although worthless in the true sense of the term, are variously decorated to attract the attention of the less intelligent men. Remember, he said, like decorating a dead body. You know, it's what's use. Actually, we do that in the West. That's what we do. Like when we have. Yeah. Do you? Yeah. So.
You give them a bath, put them sun, put them.
Yeah, but you do some religious rite and then you burn it. You know. Yeah. But here in the West, we decorate it and everything. They even go so far they sew the lips shut. They sew the eyelids shut. It's actually a very disturbing type of practice. Sew it, like stitch it shut. Yeah. What's that?
I've never even seen that.
You've seen that. If you've gone to an open casket funeral.
Never gone to a funeral.
You've never been to a funeral?
Me neither.
How did you get it the way in life and never go to a funeral before?
I never
Wow, you guys are interesting. Well, in India, funerals aren't really a thing, but a Western boy has never been to a funeral. It's rare. So I've been to dozens of funerals, but a lot of people around me die.
You were in like a badge of honor.
What's that?
Like you said it like I've been to a dozen funerals, like it's a badge of honor.
No, it's not a badge of honor, but I'm just shocked. But anyway, really. All right. Well, yeah, they stitch the lips shut. They stitch the eyelids shut. They go very.
Gross to watch. Like,
Well, you don't watch it.
Okay.
They do it like the people. What are they called? It's a profession.
It's a profession.
Yeah, it pays very good actually. Very high paying profession. The death business is huge actually. Everyone will always die. There's
That's something that
there's a
doesn't go out of
pastime.
business.
Yeah, that business will never go out of business. But anyway, they pay a lot of money. But yeah, the funeral home owners, they have this service. They provide this service, and they charge you good money for this service. But anyway, I hope none of my relatives ever do that to me or to my body. Just let it burn. That's the best way. But anyway, so like this, decorating a dead body, that's what all the ornaments on all these, the Harry Potters and the 50 Shades of Grey and yeah, what else do people read nowadays? What is the new stuff?
You know the 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yes, thank you, Rishi. Believe it or not, I learned about this. My mother wanted to read 50 Shades of Grey, and I was like, oh my god.
Watching is something different.
Reading is more fun as you imagine things there.
Yeah, no, don't. This is all dead body literature, and don't decorate the dead body with all the ornaments of sense gratification. But anyway, they're worthless in the true sense of the term.
We are interested in 50 Shades of
And,
Grey.
yes, that's what we want to be interested in, all the different shades of Krishna. Yeah, the unlimited shades of Krishna, also known as the Srimad Bhagavatam, is the first literature for that. So anyway, thus the attracted living entities are more and more entangled in material bondage without hope of liberation for thousands and thousands of generations. So this is an unfortunate circumstance. We get so much entangled in the desires and the temporary things of this world that for thousands and thousands of generations we're victimized. Here in birth, death, disease, old age, over and over and over again. Sri Narad Rishi, being the best amongst the Vaishnavas, is compassionate towards such unfortunate victims of worthless literatures. And thus he advises Sri Vyasadeva to compose transcendental literature, which is not only attractive, but can also actually bring liberation from all kinds of bondage. Srila Vyasadeva or his representatives are qualified because they are rightly trained to see things in true perspective. Srila Vyasadeva and his representatives are pure in thought due to their spiritual enlightenment, fixed in their vows due to their devotional service, and determined to deliver the fallen souls rotting in material activities. The fallen souls are very eager to receive novel informations every day, and the transcendentalists like Vyasadeva or Narada can supply such, novel means new by the way, novel informations every day, and the transcendentalists like Vyasadeva or Narada can supply such eager people in general with unlimited news from the spiritual world. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said that the material world is only a part of the whole creation, and that this earth is only a fragment of the whole material world. So he's seeing Vyasadeva's qualification, and due to being so qualified and understanding all the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, he says you can compose something that will actually help these people. They're attracted to literature, they're attracted to having some information about the unknown. So use what you know of the Lord to compose something that will be for their benefit. And so this is what the Bhagavatam is going to be. And then it starts telling about our unfortunate situation in the material world. We, over and over again, reincarnate here due to our desires to enjoy things here. Depending on what you desire and depending on the karma, the activities you've done in the past will lead you to where you are now and into the future. And so unfortunately, because we've been completely mundane up until this point, we have this mundane destination. I mean, everyone in this room actually has taken a step above the mundane. Everyone has done. And online, if you're sincerely listening, you also have taken a step above the mundane. And if you're maybe interested, then you can take the step above the mundane. But by and large, we've only been associating with that which is mundane, which is temporary, which is ultimately worthless. So anyway, Prabhupada continues, there are thousands and thousands of literary men all over the world, and they have created many, many thousands of literary works for the information of the people in general, for thousands and thousands of years. Unfortunately, none of them have brought peace and tranquility on the earth. This is due to a spiritual vacuum in those literatures. Therefore, the Vedic literatures, especially the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, are specifically recommended to suffering humanity, to bring about the desired effect of liberation from the pangs of material civilization, which is eating the vital part of human energy. So it's mentioning, just think about all the literatures that influence, even in this country, the American Revolution. There was he's a famous atheist, what was his name, Thomas Paine. He had given some literature that actually inspired like the revolution. And I don't know if Gandhi had any type of literatures been going out, but inspiring all kinds of political revolution and things like that.
They were actually all the politicians, they used to give commentary on Bhagavad Gita, some rubbish commentary, to use their Bhagavad Gita for spreading their propaganda.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the reason why that's why Prabhupada was not happy. He said they give all the nonsense commentary. And they used to they use Krishna, but they don't say supreme. No one said actually this, that Krishna is the supreme Lord and you should listen him. They are using it for their own propaganda.
Yes.
It's still going on.
Yes. So this is this is the unfortunate situation. Even they can take us a holy spiritual literature and then they can try and suck the spirit right out of it and use it for their purposes. I mean, unfortunate. But yes, this is these literatures, the spiritual ones, like the Vedic literatures, like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, are specifically recommended to suffering humanity to bring about the desired effect of liberation. Liberation, what is that? Freedom. Freedom from what? Suffering. Being free from the suffering conditions of life. We can be free with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from the pangs of material civilization. Maybe let them get through. Hello. Good morning. So, all right, which is eating the vital part of human energy. The Bhagavad Gita is the spoken message of the Lord himself, recorded by Vyasadeva, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is the transcendental narration of the activities of the same Lord Krishna, which alone can satisfy the hankering desires of the living being for eternal peace and liberation from miseries. Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, is meant for all the living beings all over the universe, for total liberation from all kinds of material bondage. Such transcendental narrations of the pastimes of the Lord can be described only by the liberated souls, like Vyasadeva, and his bona fide representatives, who are completely merged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Only to such devotees do the pastimes of the Lord and their transcendental nature become automatically manifest by by the means of devotional service. No one else can either know or describe the acts of the Lord, even if they speculate on the subject for many, many years. So only the liberated people can give us knowledge to be liberated. It's obvious. The descriptions of the Bhagavatam are so precise and accurate that whatever has been predicted in this great literature about 5,000 years ago is now exactly happening. Therefore, the vision of the author comprehends past, present, and future. Such liberated persons as Vyasadeva are perfect, not only by the power of vision and wisdom, but also in oral reception. In thinking, feeling, and all other sense activities, a liberated person possesses perfect senses. And with perfect senses only can one serve the sense proprietor, Rishikesh. Okay. It's this guy here. That's what Rishikesh means. The master of the senses. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. That's the name for Rishikesh. Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, is the perfect description of the all-perfect personality of Godhead by the all-perfect personality Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Vedas. So he's getting more and more inspired, and he's being glorified by Narada Muni. And then Prabhupada wanted to hammer home a few understandings here of why we need such literatures in this world. And really, It's the lack of these literatures that's causing so many disturbing situations in the world. But it's here now, and Prabhupada even brought it to English. Every language almost across the world is now present for that language. But, now it's just the question, how will we find people who are interested? So, somehow or other you're interested, so let's continue. Tatonyata kinchana yad vivakshataha Pritag Jushastat Krita Rupa Namabi Nakarhichit Kvapi Chadushtita Matir Labheta Vatahatanor Ivaspadam Tataha. From that, Anyatha, apart. Kinchana, something, yat, whatsoever, vivakshataha, desiring to describe, prithak, separately, drisha, vision, tatkrita, reactionary to that, rupa, form, nambabi, by names, nakarhichit, never, kvapi, any, cha, and, Dustita, mati, oscillating mind, labheta, gains, vata ahata, troubled by the wind, Noah, whatever it is, boat. That's interesting. Noah means boat. That's a great pastime about a Noah and a boat in like the Bible. So it's very interesting.
The Noah's Ark.
Yes, Noah's Ark. Eva, like, aspadam, place. Translation. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. So this is very important. He's giving a truth. Whatever we desire to describe that's separate in vision from the Lord, simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to ultimately agitate our mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. So if you imagine the mind is like a boat in the ocean, every time we want to talk about or, get lost in activities or subject matters not related to the Lord, this is what we're doing. We're just agitating our mind more and more and more. Shaking, stirring it up. There's no peace in this situation. So bring the mind to peace. This is by resting the consciousness in what? Krishna consciousness, yes. So that's what we're here to do. Purport. Sri Vyasadeva is the editor of all descriptions of the Vedic literatures, and thus he has described transcendental realization in different ways, namely by fruitive activities, speculative knowledge, mystic power, and devotional service. These are the subject matters of the Vedas. This is the subject matters of the Bhagavad Gita. What are they called? Fruitive activities, karma, or even karma yoga, you could say, speculative. Yeah. Well, fruitive activities you would say is karma, speculative knowledge is jnana, mystic power is what? Yeah, ashtanga, and then devotional service is bhakti. And when you dovetail them all to yoga, you can bring them all up to bhakti. But ultimately bhakti is the highest goal. So anyway, besides that, in his various Puranas, he has recommended the worship of so many demigods in different forms and names. The result is that people in general are puzzled how to fix their minds in the service of the Lord. They are always disturbed about finding the real path of self-realization. Srila Naradadev is stressing this particular defect in the Vedic literatures compiled by Vyasadeva, and thus he is trying to emphasize describing everything in relation with the Supreme Lord and no one else. In fact, there is nothing existent except the Lord. The Lord is manifested in different expansions. He is the root of the complete tree. He is the stomach of the complete body. Pouring water on the root is the right process to water the tree, as much as feeding the stomach supplies energy to all parts of the body. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva should not have compiled any Puranas other than the Bhagavat Purana, because a slight deviation from that may create havoc for self-realization. If a slight deviation can create such havoc, then what to speak of deliberate expansion of the ideas separate from the absolute truth, personality of Godhead? He says, if a slight deviation can create such havoc, then what to speak of deliberate expansion of the ideas separate from the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead? The most effective part of worshipping demigods is that it creates a definite conception of pantheism. That's like, well, why don't we? Yes, it is. It does mean that, but it has a different meaning as well.
Monotheism and pantheism, that is.
Yeah.
Monotheism means
Polytheism means many, but pantheism means which identifies God with the universe, or regards the universe as a manifestation of God. So this is, yeah, well, worshipping like nature. Yeah, you meet a lot of people like this, and they're actually very favorable for Krishna consciousness. But the pantheistic view in itself is not favorable. You know, a lot of people. I met like a lot of like hippie types in my day, and I used to believe like this. You know, like, nature is my church or something like that. They say like this. You know. Yeah.
What does that mean?
You know, they feel more connected spiritually in, say, the forest than they do in, like the church or the temple. And actually, this could be true if you're going to a place of worship that is not fully embodying spiritual teachings. This can be the case. But people, can take that to the next level. They worship God as like the universe, what they can perceive with the senses, basically. But God is so much even more than that. But anyway, this is pantheism. So by worshipping of many demigods and seeing that there is empowered, you worshipping the god of water like Varuna we talked about last night, you're worshipping the god of fire, Agni, now we have Ganesh, now we have this god does this god does this god gives the rain, this god does this, and then naturally you're worshipping all of the forces of nature, and you give a pantheistic view to God, but you might never realize the transcendental view of God, that he's actually beyond all this. So that's what we're trying to get to. And so when you have a conception of pantheism ending disastrously in many religious sects, detrimental to the progress of the principles of the Bhagavatam, which alone can give the accurate direction for self-realization in eternal relation with the personality of Godhead, by devotional service and transcendental love. So ultimately, pantheism doesn't really give you a scope from which you can cultivate real love for God. It kind of, there's so many different personalities, and you actually can ultimately become very impersonal with God, because it's you're just associating it with the living forces around you, but that you may never come to the realization that there is a personal God, like there's a personal relationship between you and the Supreme. So the example of the boat disturbed by whirling wind is suitable in this respect. The diverted mind of the pantheist can never reach the perfection of self-realization due to the disturbed condition of the selection of object. It's always going to be looking at this God, and then this God, and then this God, and then this God, and it never gets to the Prabhupada gave a nice example of watering the root of the tree. You don't want to just sit here and I want to take care of this plant, let me massage this branch, let me do this, let me put water here, then let me put water here. No, how do you nourish the plant? You just put water on the roots. Similarly, if you want to take care of your body's feeling weak, okay, I've got to take some foodstuffs and massage it into my right wrist hurts, my right shoulder hurts, let me massage this, and let me take my food and try and massage it in and topically apply the food stuff. No, you just put it in the mouth and let it go to the stomach, and the stomach will nourish these parts of the body. So we're wasting our time trying to isolate all the different, the pantheistic view. I got to take care of this God on this day. Oh my God, no, we forgot about this God on here, and no, this God, this God, this God. And it makes the head spin. Just focus on the one God. Just water the root of the tree, nourish the belly, everything will be taken care of. So like this. One more verse. Jugupsitam dharma krite nushasata svabhava raktasya mahan vyatikrama yadvakyato dharma iti tadastito namanyate tasya nivaranam janaha Jugupsitam, verily condemned. Dharma krite, for the matter of religion. Anushasataha, instruction. Svabhava raktasya, naturally inclined. Mahan, great. Vyatikramaha, unreasonable. Yatvakyataha, under whose instruction? Dharmaha, religion. Iti, it is thus. Itaraha, the people in general. Sthitaha, fixed. Na, do not. Manyate, think. Tasya, of that. Nivaranam, prohibition. Janaha, they. Translation. The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned and is quite unreasonable, because they are guided under your instructions. They will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions. So this is Vyasadev's great, you could say, mistake, but it wasn't actually a mistake, because people with the enjoying nature who will never come to a higher platform of religion, they need some way to worship, even if it's completely self-interested. Yes, they won't get the same result as, say, somebody who's actively trying to worship solely and wholly for pleasure to the Supreme Lord, but they will get some type of result and natural. So Vyasadeva did a good thing, but Prabhupada is saying he didn't do the best thing, and Narada is saying you didn't do the best thing. You've actually you've cheated them of the best thing up until this point. So what's the best thing? Srila Vyasadev's compilation of different Vedic literatures on the basis of regulated performance of fruitive activities are depicted in the Mahabharata and other literature is condemned herewith by Srila Narada. So pretty much all the other forms of religion given up until this point in the Vedas for the highest purpose is really condemned by Narada. The human beings, by long material association, life after life, have a natural inclination, by practice, to endeavor to lord it over material energy. They have no sense of the responsibility of human life. This human form of life is a chance to get out of the clutches of illusory matter. The Vedas are meant for going back to Godhead, going back home. To revolve in the cycle of transmigration in a series of lives numbering 8,400,000. That's the amount of different species of lives you will transmigrate into or reincarnate into if you lose this human opportunity. Is an imprisoned life for the condemned conditioned souls. The human form of life is a chance to get out of this imprisoned life, and as such, the only occupation of the human being is to reestablish his lost relationship with God. I'll repeat, the only occupation of the human being is to reestablish his lost relationship with God. This is what human life is for. This is the rare opportunity of human life. And yet we want to build careers, we want to build families, we want to build a legacy, a material legacy. Look at how talented I was at this thing or that thing or the other thing. But no, you have a rare opportunity. You're a human. You have suitable intelligence. Get out of the ultimate problems that life is giving: birth, death, disease, old age. Use your human life wisely. So this is why all of you have been sent here. Every one of you, and we're even talking now, this other boy, Palash, is getting sent here for 4 months. See how easy, you guys are all struggling to get your material things that you feel like you need. But Krishna has given everything you need, don't worry. But just see how easy Palash, I think he just had to attend one program, and then Palash gets some really nice...
he fasted and he got the job for 4 months.
Yes.
He
And
fasted for 6 hours only.
yes. But Krishna actually is not...
Maharashtra.
Yes.
He fasted and the very next day he got the offer letter for 4 months. Wow.
Yes.
Nice.
So just see, how easy Krishna can give you the material things that you
I
need.
told him, like, just do it,
But-
and you never know.
But actually, giving you devotion is not very easy. Giving you what you guys have the opportunity for, it's very difficult to attain this, actually. But in that, you'll be tested by, he won't give you the material things because he loves you. Because he loves you, he will not give you this thing. Because he's like, no. See, yes. But right now, Palash has, he has a new opportunity for 4 months. But the opportunity isn't just to have this position. That's why he's attracted. But what is it really, actually? He gets to stay here with the devotees and go deeper into his spiritual life for 4 months. So this is actually, Krishna is tricking him, He is giving him some material thing. Just like Sahil, you were given some enticement to come here, and that was a complete disaster. But now you're here with us. This is what you were supposed to come here for. So, and same with you, Piyush and Rishi and all these things. Krishna has tricked all of you here. And so now you just, actually tomorrow is, it's my Vedic birthday tomorrow. Jai. But much more important than my Vedic birthday, it's Vaman Dwadashi tomorrow.
This verse is really nice from CC. It's on the same exact topic. I was quoting this, but
Sure.
I was not able to remember.
So it's Ami Vigya Murke Vishaya Kene Diba Svacharanamrita Diya Vishaya Bulaiba. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. So this is actually what Krishna is doing to you all. Yes, he is not going to give the material prosperity to the sincere. But in the beginning, when we go to him and we want material prosperity, just see how easily he'll give it, so easily. But he does not easily give this, which what he is giving you guys. So take this. This is a rare gift. So this is what Vyasadeva is, his kind of fault by Narada is. He's like, you're giving them the tools only to get material prosperity. But how are you bringing them closer to the feet of the Lord? This is the ultimate gift. So the human form of life is a chance to get out of this imprisoned life, and as such, the only occupation of the human being is to reestablish his lost relationship with God. Under the circumstances, one should never be encouraged in making a plan for sense enjoyment in the name of religious functions. Such diversion of the human energy results in a misguided civilization. Srila Vyasadeva is the authority in Vedic explanations in the Mahabharata, etc. And his encouragement in sense enjoyment, in some form or other, is a great barrier for spiritual advancement, because the people in general will not agree to renounce material activities, which held them in material bondage. So, actually, he's given a barrier by giving them the facility. Well, if you do this form of worship, you'll get this material result. If you give this form of worship, you'll get this material result. But actually, this is going to hold them in bondage because they're used to this. All right, we know if you, we call, this is very popular in Jewish tradition, worshiping the Lord, doing different sacrifices to get the material things that you want. It's also very popular in the Vedic or Hindu tradition. They're called the Karmakandis, and that's the large majority of quote-unquote Hindus are just Karmakandis, yes. 99%. Yeah. So this is, but we have to actually overcome this tendency. So here we are. So it's holding them in material bondage. At a certain stage of human civilization, when such material activities in the name of religion, as sacrificing animals in the name of yajna, were too much rampant, the Lord incarnated himself as Buddha and decried the authority of the Vedas in order to stop animal sacrifice in the name of religion. This was foreseen by Narada, and therefore he condemned such literatures. The flesh eaters still continue to perform animal sacrifice before some demigod or goddess in the name of religion, because in some of the Vedic literature, such regulated sacrifices are recommended. They are so recommended to discourage flesh eating, but gradually the purpose of such, what is this? I just lost it. The flesh eaters still continue to perform animal sacrifice before some demigod or goddess in the name of religion, because in some of the Vedic literature, such regulated sacrifices are recommended. Like it's popular with offering meat and wine and liquor to Bhadra Kali. This is popular. And even all of the Jewish religion and all of the Islamic religion is doing something similar.
But on this, I've read what Prabhupada said. He said that we actually offer to Kali Mata and a few other deities. So Prabhupada in one of the purports, he said this very clearly. He said that Kali Mata doesn't eat the flesh. It is the Chamunda or the other demoniac associates. They kind of eat that. And if you eat that, you would get the qualities of all those people. And he has very clearly mentioned that the Chamunda is one of them. He eats that, or her associates eat that who are demoniac in nature.
I mean, and even if she's so, because there's a pastime in the Jada Bharat where Kali comes and chops off the head of the dacoits who tried to kill Jada Bharat, but I do remember a part where she drank their blood. So I don't know, who knows what she is doing, who knows why Prabhupada is saying and what Prabhupada is saying. But he's, she's pure, and even if she manifests, because we also remember Parvati and Shiva, they're like transcendental personalities. But for the material world, they'll come in touch with the material modes. So who knows? At the spiritual level, they're not touching these lower modes, but on another level, it may appear that way. So I don't know. I don't know. But Prabhupada said one thing, so we can take that. Anyway, now he's saying that he's discouraging flesh eating, because people are doing this. And like I said, that even all of the religious systems, they're encouraging the murder of animals unnecessarily for the name of performing sacrifices found in their religious scriptures. But this is not a good activity, and it's harmful to the animals, and it's actually harmful to us. It's getting us attracted more and more to the worldly tastes and the perpetuation of violence unnecessarily. So, but gradually the purpose of such religious activities is forgotten, and the slaughterhouse becomes prominent. So the purpose of those activities is to offer things unto the Supreme, but what ends up happening is now people just want to enjoy their meat, and they don't care about any religious sacrifice anymore. And there's no religion behind it at all. It just says, oh, well, my religion, I'm not going to hell for this, I can do this. I talk to many people like that. Anyway, this is because foolish materialistic men do not care to listen to others who are actually in a position to explain the Vedic rites. That's a long purport. In the Vedas, it is distinctly said that the perfection of life is never to be attained either by voluminous work, which means like a large amount of work, or by accumulation of wealth, or even by increasing the population. But it is so attained only by renunciation. The materialistic men do not care to listen to such injunctions. According to them, the so-called renounced order of life is meant for those who are unable to earn their livelihood because of some corporeal defects. I have to look up what corporeal means. Corporeal. Relating to a person's body, especially as opposed to their spirit. So their bodily defects. Where are we? So the materialistic men do not care to listen to such injunctions. According to them, the so-called renounced order of life is meant for those who are unable to earn their livelihood because of some corporeal defects, or for persons who have failed to achieve prosperity in family life. Actually, this is what I thought in the beginning too when I saw a bunch of monks wandering around. I was like, oh, these people just they weren't able to be successful in getting jobs, or they couldn't attract a woman, or all these things, And now I'm like learning about, like, 'cause I have some type of financial life. I have a woman in my life, and all these things, and I'm seeing the value more and more and more of renunciation. And it's not my wife's fault, or it's not my.
But if you see one of the most highly successful monks, I will not use the word successful. I will use the word most of the very devoted monks, or very monks that we hear and listen to, are one of the best people who have gained lot of material opulences, and they then chose this life.
Yes.
For example, Gauranga Prabhu that he was a graduate from IIT. And IIT is something that if you graduate from there, you are gonna be CEO of Google or something like that.
Yes.
It's that level of opulence you are living when you. IIT is the best thing you can ever do in India.
Yeah.
Materially.
You got admission in MIT.
Right. So it's one example. I'm saying there are like thousands of examples of opulences in which people who have reached the pinnacle of material opulence, and then they have choose this path.
Yes.
It shows a lot about their devotion.
It should be more of a choice than an escape plan.
Yes. Well, it has to be it. That's what real, the other type of renunciation is called like monkey renunciation, where you're also renounced. Like a monkey seems renounced, but the monkey is just waiting to steal sense gratification as soon as he can get it. So this is, so I thought like this. So I was like, oh, the monks, they just, they must not have been attractive to some lady or something like that, so they chose the path of a monk. And if that's happening in your life, that's not a good reason to choose the path of a monk. So, but that's, so you can't fulfill your material desires, but you should see the value in renunciation. And actually, it said in the Bhagavatam, the Grahastha ashram is supposed to teach you why renunciation is important, which is why it's the second ashram. And you'll see when you have a wife, and even eventually children will come to me, and things like this, that in finances and juggling all these things, I'm seeing more and more the value of the renunciate's life. I'm like, oh, how simple and beautiful this type of life would be. Maybe one day, maybe when I'm 50 or so plus years old, Krishna will arrange something that I can enjoy the peace of the renunciates. And it's not like, oh, my wife is doing something wrong, or I'm doing something wrong in my material. No, the nature of these activities is that they're naturally it's very difficult to achieve, and they cause so many different disturbances. Even in, like, look at all these people, like all the divorces of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Donald Trump and all these people, they just can't, their material things all fall apart in these situations. It doesn't matter how rich and wealthy you are. And everyone knows more money means what?
More sense.
No, you guys are... It's common in the West, they say, more money, more problems. But you guys are all from the East, and Michael's young, so... so no one got the reference. So anyway, more money means more money, more problems. So anyway, anyhow... Yes, don't worry, it's good. The more you have, the more problems you have. So according to them, the so-called renounced order of life is meant for those who are unable to earn their livelihood because of some corporeal defects, or bodily defects, or for persons who have failed to achieve prosperity in family life. That was like according to me, that's what I thought. In histories like the Mahabharata, of course, there are topics on transcendental subjects along with material topics. The Bhagavad Gita is there in the Mahabharata. The whole idea of the Mahabharata culminates in the ultimate instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, that one should relinquish all other engagements and should engage oneself solely and fully in surrendering unto the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. But men with materialistic tendencies are more attracted to the politics, economics, and philanthropic activities mentioned in the Mahabharata than to the principal topic, namely the Bhagavad Gita. I talked to this, so many, especially young Indians, and I said, oh, you know Bhagavad Gita, you've been learning about this since you were a kid. They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, so just tell me, like, what have you learned in Bhagavad Gita? And they always tell me something like about doing their karma, doing their duty, and I'm just like, oh, so you're like the first essence of the Bhagavad Gita. And then I was like, well, what do you think of this verse when he says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja? Abandon all of the Dharma and just surrender unto me. They're like, oh, where is that? I'm like, right at the end, like it's the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. You don't remember, So it's always so funny to me. But this is why, because we're more materialistic, we're attracted to the more materialistic things. So like this. So even Bhagavad Gita. Look at Gandhi. Gandhi had a big campaign with Bhagavad Gita. Look at everyone is doing, but who is actually following Bhagavad Gita? And they were not following. Anyway, I know I'll get in trouble with the Indian population. You criticized Gandhi? Yes, I'm criticizing Gandhi, but I'm not criticizing Gandhi.
In India, everyone's criticizing Gandhi.
Good. Actually, it was quite disturbing. I mean, he had this campaign. I don't mean to slander him, but I mean, he should not be looked at as like a Mahabhagava or a Mahatma. A Mahatma is somebody is described in Bhagavad Gita what a Mahatma is, but he did not take that qualification. But he was struggling with his, he had this really weird campaign where he wanted to lay down with his granddaughter and her friends, and and try and test his renunciation by laying next to his granddaughter and her friends. This is just very bizarre. You knew about this?
No, it's actually quite famous.
It's in his diary. It's proven.
Yeah.
He was sent among politician and politician among saint.
Yeah. Whatever. It's just. Sorry, but this is just not.
Yeah, that was actually because I read that in the book that was written, Autobiography of a Yogi.
Yes.
And I didn't believe it at first, but then I checked online, and all of that was true, and I was like very disgusted.
Yes. But this is the nature of when materialistic people take to religion. You get some muddled thing.
He was a politician.
Yeah. He wasn't.
But one thing good happened that when he was shot, he said Ram's name at the end.
Yeah, I know. Gandhi actually, he's definitely not an all bad person at all. He's very, he made some achievement in the world and did many good, and even brought many people to Bhagavad Gita. But did he fully imbibe? Maybe in the next life he can do that. Maybe he's doing it right now.
Prabhupada didn't like Gandhi, that's for sure.
Prabhupada was a follower of Gandhi.
He liked it.
But in the beginning, but at the end, his Guru Maharaj argued against Gandhi's campaign, and actually himself, when Gandhi's campaign asked the Gaudiya Math to join them in their campaign, his Guru Maharaj rejected it. And so when Prabhupada learned the reasons why, he actually, because he liked Gandhi, he would write letters to Gandhi pleading him to stop. And he was saying, if you don't, a month before he died, he was assassinated. He had sent a letter to Gandhi pleading him to get back to the essence of Bhagavad Gita and to get out of this political arena. It's very dangerous. You'll get killed in this type of arena. And then probably Gandhi got thousands of letters, and he didn't take this one very seriously, or maybe he never even got it. Who knows? But a month later, this exact thing happened. He was killed. So Prabhupada never.
It's a very harsh video, but I can play.
No, we don't have time for a video right now. No, not in the class.
Okay,
I have to finish this and we have to go. We're already an hour and 10 minutes in. So in histories like the Mahabharata, of course, there are topics on transcendental subjects along with material topics. The Bhagavad Gita is there in the Mahabharata. I always said that. And the basically the materialists, they get attracted to the parts of Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita that are they perpetuate their materialistic ideas, but they don't want to follow the parts about surrendering unto the Supreme Lord. So this compromising spirit of Vyasadeva is directly condemned by Narada. We should also be careful in our bridge preaching. A lot of times we want to make Krishna consciousness really accessible to new people, but if we compromise too much, then the whole essence can get lost. Who advises him to directly proclaim that the prime necessity of human life is to realize one's eternal relation with the Lord, and thus surrender unto him without delay. A patient suffering from a particular type of malady, or like a disease, is almost always inclined to accept eatables which are forbidden for him. That's why he has the disease in the first place. The expert physician does not make any compromise with the patient by allowing him to take partially what he should not at all take. Like when you guys were all sick here a few weeks back, I was very harsh with some of you. You should not be taking this. You should not be taking this. But some of you, it's like, I really want the sweets. And you did not listen to me. And I was like, oh. But I'm not your physician, so I had to just let you learn the hard way. But anyway, the expert physician does not make any compromise with the patient by allowing him to take partially what he should not at all take. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that a man attached to fruitive work should not be discouraged from his occupation, for gradually he may be elevated to the position of self-realization. This is sometimes applicable for those who are only dry empiric philosophers without spiritual realization. But those who are on the devotional line need not be always so advised. So if somebody has any inkling for devotion, don't compromise with them. You say, no. You guys, like depends, the difference would be like you guys here, the commitments I'm making with you guys to be here, and then say like Palash to be here. We love Palash. Maybe Palash will listen. But he's just in a different place in his life right now. So actually for him, just go to work, maybe think of Krishna, come to a program, eat prasad, that's good for him. That's good advice for him. But if I gave you guys the same advice, I'd be doing harm to you. Because you're ready for the next lesson. So like this. We'll end here. The lessons are all there. Piyush, we can watch your Gandhi video in the... there is no breakfast.
It's something very important.
Yes, we can watch it later. I forgot I still had this in my ear. Haribol. Thank you guys for joining online. This was I always get very enlivened by studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm very happy to do this service with you guys. Thank you